Welcome back to the channel. What a round of Six Nations rugby action we have been treated to in round 4. Some big upsets from the likes of Italy and England, with France prevailing over a decent Welsh performance at home, with all games really having quite a decent scoreline, plenty of points, plenty of tries, and as always, plenty of talking points. In today's video, I'm going to be talking you through 7 things in which I feel we have learned from this round of the Six Nations. As always, please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you agree, do you disagree, and what other things do you think we have learned from this round of the Six Nations? I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on. That would be much appreciated. Start off with point number 1, Italy are no joke. I think you can definitely see in this year's championship, Italy have levelled up, not necessarily in terms of any particular area, but just overall, every single area has developed, from their set piece to the game management to the flair. Italy have always had one of those components, but in this championship they've really brought it all together through some strong club performances from the likes of Benetton, Zebre playing some good rugby as well. I think it's really shown in this Italian team. They're developing some really strong stars amongst their team, the likes of Brex, Menoncello, Lamaro's prevailing to be a really good captain as well. So you've seen warning signs of Italy being a very good team from previous Six Nations gone by, but it's really been in the last couple maybe. The win over Wales would have inspired some confidence, and then for their first win at home in 11 years against Scotland, what a performance that was. Very exciting. You would have got your value for money from attending that game. So really good to see Italy challenging with 1 draw and 1 win going into the last round of the Six Nations. Really happy to see that from Italy. Point number 2, 6-2 is risky. That is obviously referring to the split on the bench in which Ireland adopted on their trip to Twickenham. It is very risky. I think sometimes it can really pay off, as South Africa showed, and they went for a 7-1 split at points in time. So Ireland do have the ability to do the 6-2 split effectively, with the ability for Jameson Gibson-Park to not only move to the wing and do all right, but to do a very good job. So Ireland do have the capabilities to do it, but it did sort of backfire in the game against England. With Nash going off early, that left Ireland with 1 back replacement for the rest of the game. Kieran Frawley, who then got injured in the game. So yeah, some turbulent times on the Irish injury front. Munster as a club team have been riddled with injuries as well. So I don't quite know what it is with the Irish and getting injured, but yeah, some tough times there for both club of Munster and for Ireland. But yeah, it's a risk that Andy Farrell took and it didn't quite pay off. But I wonder what your thoughts are in the comments. Is a 6-2 split something you're often nervous about? Does it instill confidence? Because it was a very physical game, so you could argue that Ireland actually did the right thing in taking a big pack of forwards, and if there wasn't early injuries, maybe it could have been a different story. Point number 3, are Ireland missing a second leader? So they've always had the Peter O'Mahony's and Johnny Sextons, and losing half of that equation of Johnny Sexton retiring after the World Cup, it did feel slightly, for me, when O'Mahony got yellow carded, they do have good leaders, but it did feel like they were missing someone to put their hand up, someone to take control of the game. I don't necessarily know this was the reason for, obviously, them coming up short. I don't think you can attribute it to this, but I think Ireland could definitely do with another leader coming through and taking a bit of ownership. I felt Caelan Doris has been doing a good job, but he's still very inexperienced as a leader. So maybe that's something that will develop as we go through the next couple years, next couple Six Nations. But I did feel Ireland could have done with a Johnny Sexton head on someone's shoulders, especially when Peter O'Mahony got yellow carded and the momentum was turning towards the end of the game. So that's just my thoughts. If you're Irish, please do let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Point number 4, is Ben Earl becoming world class? Could Ben Earl be named in a World 15? I think with Ben Earl, we've always seen snippets for Saracens, for England, of him being very good, but he's never really had the consistency to say, yeah, I think he's a World 15 player, and I think he's approaching that at the moment. I mean, he's had 2 Six Nations, I think it's 2, it might be 3 Six Nations man of the matches in this tournament so far. He's been doing very well. Both the home performances against Wales and Ireland, he got man of the match, so he's emerging to be a very well balanced player, and you could mention him alongside the words of world class. I think his jackling ability over the ball is very good. He's one of the best in the world going forward with a rugby ball, not necessarily in terms of power, but his agility. You don't see many number 8s make a line break off of a step like Ben Earl, so yeah, I think he's approaching the sort of the big phrase of being termed world class, but we do need to see it for a longer period of time, and we need to see that consistency to really say those words with conviction. Point number 5, Scotland are Messi. Reread the way I wrote Messi. I'm quite proud of that. Not very funny, but I think I deserve a couple merit points for that. Scotland, big performance over England, did very, very, very well. They always turn up against the English, unfortunately for my sake and for England's sake, but it's their consistency that's been killing them. Against Italy, that was a game in which they theoretically, going back over history, they should come away with 5 points, and it should go down to a decider against Ireland in the last round. That wasn't the case. They played some good attacking rugby, but discipline, handling errors, lack of killer instinct once more cost Scotland. Finn Russell had a decent game. There were some really good performances throughout the team, but they need to see out games like that. As soon as you go into half time with, I can't remember what it was, like an 8-point lead or something like that, you can't let that slip. And it does come down to players like Finn Russell, unfortunately, and maybe the inexperience of George Horn at scrum half. You need these half-backs to be able to see out the game, to play in the right areas. That being said, Italy aren't the team of old. That isn't like losing to Italy, going back 6 years in, 2016, 17, that sort of thing. They're a different team now. But yeah, there's work to be done on the consistency front for Scotland. Point number 6, Welsh Fire for 40. Wales did very well against France for 40 minutes. And they've done that in multiple games, this Six Nations. They've been, verging upon, a very, very decent team. I don't want to say like a world-class team, but they've really given France some really big troubles. They've given England some big troubles. So maybe not world-class, but they've been a very, very good international team for 40 minutes, but they just can't seem to keep it going. Warren Gatland prides his team on fitness. I don't think it's a fitness issue. I'm not sure quite what it is, but they seem to drop off after 40 minutes. It's not necessarily they get to half time and they're knackered. It's just for 40 minutes spell within the game, they are really in it. They're creating a really, really tight contest, but they just don't seem to be able to keep it going and to put teams to the sword. That being said, when I say Welsh Fire for 40, they did put some really, really entertaining bits of rugby together, which was brilliant to see. Some really good attacking rugby. Costello put them in the right areas of the pitch. You had Rio Dyer with some exceptional pace and vision to spot gaps. He's a real diamond within that Welsh team and is playing some brilliant stuff for both club and country. And then point number 7, Fairbank the Answer. So is George Fairbank the answer to England's attacking issues? Comparing him to Freddie Stewart, Fairbank's definitely got more pace, definitely got more fly half or sort of vision as a rugby player. His rugby IQ is above Freddie Stewart's in my point of view, albeit Freddie Stewart does have the superpower of being under the high ball. George Fairbank has made plenty of errors in the Scotland and Ireland games alike. However, with great risk comes great reward, and I do think the interchange of Fairbank and Stewart is paying off in England's favour. Do England beat Ireland without Fairbank in that game? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think you have to look at the couple tries in which England scored out wide. You had Fairbank scoring one of them. Really, really good pace. I don't think Stewart's got that sort of top-end pace and the ability to spot that gap. And then Ollie Lawrence's try in the first stanza, the first sort of minute or two. No, it wasn't a minute or two, was it? It was probably like 10 minutes. I'm getting too excited. The game went in a flash for me, but he was really the architect of that. He picked the ball up at fullback, and whereas Freddie Stewart would probably take it route one and really try and bulldoze someone, Fairbank got his vision up, he started looking, he found the space on the left-hand side, he really turned the burners on to get there, and then put in a nice pass to set England away down that short side. So I do think the Fairbank effect is paying off for England, but only time will tell, and going to France next week will be a huge, huge test for that combination if Steve Borthwick sticks him at fullback and leaves Stewart out. So those are the 7 things in which I feel we learn. I say the last one's a question, so maybe that's not something we've learned, but we could be learning. But if you agree, you disagree with any of the points, let me know. Are there any ones you'd add on there yourself? I'd be very interested to hear. But yeah, until the next video, I'll see you later, guys. Take care.